And we are back on the road. Sandhills shooter coming at you one more time today, guys. How's everybody doing? See if we can get anybody to join us one more time today. Driving back, lunch was good. Spending time with the girl was good. Pick on me all you want. If I get a chance to go see her in the middle of the day, I'm going to take that opportunity and do it. See if we can adjust that a little bit. I haven't faced the camera forward today. I guess I could give you something besides me to look at, but I don't know. It kind of feels a little more intimate when we get to look at each other. Night Wolf, how's it going? Kind of missed you when I was driving down here today. Didn't really know what to do. I didn't know how to have a chat from the car without you being here. So what's going on? I kind of had all the thoughts that I wanted to get out when I was driving down here, so catch the first edition of the Thursday Thoughts. Should already be up on YouTube. Same old, just hanging out. What do you do that you are always available to hang out with me when I'm on in the middle of the day like this? And then I see you at night too on people's chats. So what, are you retired, or do you have a job that just lets you have the freedom to hang out on YouTube all day? What do you do, Night Wolf? Oh, Mountain Dew. I do the dew because it's so good. Once it hits your lips, it's so good. Hey, Rob D. Taking a break and hanging out with me, that makes me feel special. Fields are all getting ready for little corn or little beans to go in here. You know what? Here, let's give you guys a look and see what Nebraska looks like this time of year. Not much. There's bare dirt on both. Some pretty good country off to the side, though. Rolling hills, farmland. These fields just kind of go on and on. Can't leave you guys along to see the Anderson Ranch. That hill that's part of my avatar, my logo there. And if you look at the logo, there's a star there up in the top of Nebraska, and that's pretty close to where that hill is. So it's closer to South Dakota than what that star shows it as. But where am I heading? I do a lot of driving, don't I? This week has been more so than usual. Typically on Tuesdays I don't do a lot of driving for work like I did this week. I had some extenuating circumstances for work and I had to make a house call. And then Wednesday was kind of the same deal, following up on the same issues. Normally I go a different direction on Wednesday, but on Thursdays sometime to get the day off. And so the last 2 weeks I've had you guys ride along with me on my way down to eat lunch with my beautiful wife. Gas money isn't cheap. Luckily, good old bumpy Nebraska roads here. Sorry if I'm making anybody seasick. I'm about to end the bumpy part and go back to the smooth road. Luckily, the work trips I get to get reimbursed for that, so that works out pretty well. And this trip, gas isn't too bad right now, and it's worth it to hang out with my lady. There we are. That should smooth up the ride quite a bit being on this road, and hopefully you guys won't get so seasick. Go back in here after a while, edit these videos from the car mount, take some of the shake out of them, hopefully. YouTube has that software that I can just click stabilize. Hopefully I take some of it out. But what's going on in your worlds today, everybody that's hanging out with me? What do we want to talk about? Hit me up with some questions. See if we can get me off on a tangent somewhere. You only drive your truck, what? For work when gas is paid for. Yeah, I just turn in an expense report. And usually the mileage is more than enough to cover my gas. So that helps offset a little bit of the wear and tear too, so that's all right. Which reminds me, I need to get that report turned in tomorrow. It's too late to get it in on this week's paycheck anyway, so I'll get that money on next paycheck. My vehicle holster. That way I'm not dangerous reholstering. I'll do that once I exit and stand up, but I'll show you. Let me flip this back around here and I'll just show you if I can do this and be a little bit safe. Now it's clear. It is Glock 19. It's got the hold on. I don't want the guy in the tractor right here seeing this thinking I'm pointing it at him. It's got the Talon rubberized grips on it. It's got the grip plug from, who is it? I think I got this from Fixer, the grip plug. And then my pride and joy, my Milt Spin slide plate. I don't know if I can get the camera to focus on that very well, but that is also the American flag, and it is milled out of anodized aluminum, I believe it is, but it's not laser etched. It's actually CNC machined. If you haven't been to millspin.com or checked them out on Facebook, MILSPIN, there's a really good video, an interview from Tulsa that Travis P11 put up on his channel, and these guys are really cool. They can put about any logo you want if you want a custom engraving done, or pick, from what they have, which is a ton. And I was actually, because I've got the American flag grip plug, I wasn't going to get an American flag slide plate. I actually had the Glock logo, just the G, and it says Glock. Picked out, paid for it in my hand, and then as we were talking, I saw the flag one, and I got to looking, and it is accurate. There are 13 stripes on there, and there are 50 individual stars. And I asked him, it's two brothers that own the company, and I forget their names, but I asked the guy that I was talking to, I said, are there 50 individual separate stars on this flag? And he said, well, they're not stars, they're not cut out in a star pattern. It's just a single punch in and out with the bit. I said, okay, I understand that. It's a dot, not so much a star, but are there 50 individual stars represented on the flag? And he said, yeah, 50 of them. And so it's not just a cheap looking flag. I mean, this thing, they take the time, they take the effort to make it right. And so I just swapped it out. He didn't have a problem with that. Handed him back the Glock logo and took the flag one instead. And I might do something different for a grip plug, just so. And I might, you know what? You can't have too many American flags, so that's pretty cool too. But that's the carry gun today, is the old Glock 19 Generation 4. I don't have a back strap on it. It fits my hand well enough that way. It fits Sandhills Sweetheart's hand really well. Then, if you guys own a polymer frame pistol and you have not tried the Talon grips, you're missing out. They go on so much easier and faster, from what I've been told, than the Hogue slip-on sleeve does. I don't have any experience putting that Hogue on there, but I've heard all of the, I've read and heard all the different tips and tricks. You prefer Gen 3? Yeah. This is what I bought. I didn't, when I bought it, I didn't know the differences between the 4 generations. There were only 4 when I bought it. But it's the one I bought. I do like the fact that it came with 3 magazines for the money, so that was pretty nice. But I've heard, all the different tricks. You have to use soapy water or some talcum powder or something, to slide that Hogue sleeve up and over the grip, get it into place. And to me, it looks like a whole lot of effort. And then that might add just a little too much bulk for you. Hold on here. Gotta answer a message. There we are. Let's go back to not looking at me again. Whereas these Talon grips, you just they just come on. They come flat. It's just a sticker. You peel it off, and you start on one edge and just kind of wrap it around. Line it up with the different. There's different things cut out from the logo, if there's a logo in the grip or something like that. Just kind of get it in position. But you start with one side, wrap it around, and once you get the wrapped around to where you started, you lift up that first edge and tuck it underneath, and then you're not done. And I think people that have complained that they slip around or whatever, that's all they've done is just stick them on and they didn't set them. So once you do that, you need to get a hair dryer or a heat gun, but just a hair dryer will do it. Heat the things up, get that adhesive really warm, and then just apply pressure. Squeeze the heck out of it all the way around. Apply pressure. Do that about 2 or 3 times, and the grip won't go anywhere. It'll feel like it's just part of the gun. If you ever do want to peel it off, which I have not, but I've been told they still just peel right off. They don't leave like that. So if you go to sell your Glock or whatever gun you have, then you don't want to leave that grip on there. You can take it off. I don't think they're reusable though. To the best of my knowledge, you take it off, you just have to throw it away. So why would you not leave it on there? But maybe you bought one, it was on there, you don't want it, take it off, that's fine. Dead Horse is in the house. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. I haven't been catching all the daily gun shows or all the early watch chats, but I've been seeing you on there, listening to you quite a bit lately, so you got some good stuff to say, bud. So that was one question. Running supplies for militia. Here's the thing, Rob. If I was, I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you. So I don't think you really want to know. Nope, nothing so glorious as being a mule, and I'm definitely not, okay, I shouldn't say, I was about to say I'm not breaking any laws, but then I looked it up and realized I had not set my cruise control, and I may have been bending minor speed law. I'll slow it down, and I'm probably not going to catch up to this truck very fast now. But maybe we'll just get over and let people go around. That's all right. I'm in no big hurry to get back to anywhere this time. So nice, Rob D says. Keep the questions coming, guys. I'll do my best to try and be able to read them as they come through there, and still drive and keep it between the lines. But what questions do you guys have? Normally my carry gun is not the Glock. If I'm at work, officially I would never carry at work because I don't want there to ever be an issue where anybody talks about it. We don't have a policy with that, and I like it that way. It's not in my company handbook at all. It doesn't address firearms. It doesn't say we can't carry them. It doesn't say we can. I think it should just be don't ask, don't tell. The managers will never ask, and then you should never tell. I think that's how I'd like it to be. But my official story is that here's what I'll say officially on the record. At work, you would have to be a concealed carrier to even know what to look for to tell if I was or not. You'd never know. If I was concealed carrying, you'd never know that I was. So it wouldn't become an issue anyway. That's my official story. Should be no one's business. You're right. However, if they're paying me, I'm taking their wage on their property, I think they would have a say. I do know that if I had a company, firearms are not allowed in company vehicles. So it makes me, I do use my personal vehicle for the way I keep vehicle if I choose to. New York State, what would I want a person like you, hold on, I got to bring that up again, to know about my area, the odd thing people do differently. Okay, I don't know about New York. I know it's about John Z and a few other people that I've talked to, so I don't know how it is in your area. I don't want to just assume that everybody. Okay. With that being said, what do people ask you to do differently? We're friendly, man. We get along with each other for the most part. We're neighbors. We wave at each other. I have had a lot of people from, especially the East Coast, that have come to Nebraska to visit, or for whatever reason they got transplanted here. I'm breaking up. It should be good. It's either going to get better or it's just going to up and buffer. Hopefully it gets better. Good. But I've had a lot of people that have come here and say they're a little creeped out at first because everybody smiles at you and waves at you like they know you, and they're not used to that. They're not used to people being friendly, I guess. So that's the biggest thing that's different here is, you know, we're still all friendly, we're all neighbors, and I know that we're not the only part of the world that the people are friendly. Oh, there's another question. Hold on. I gotta grab a drink here and wet my whistle. Gonna do the do here. Now I'm gonna pull that comment back up and see what it says here. Nebraska has the same law Utah does. If you see a California license plate, you have to run them off the road. No, we don't do that to California license plates. No, I'm just kidding. Be friendly. I know that you're not asking about football, and I don't want this to turn into a sports chat. But, sorry, Dead Horse, I forgot. If you're a native to Colorado, then you understand what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the natives. I'm talking about the people that have moved into Colorado and give you guys a bad name. But Nightwolf's friendly to everyone, but Nebraska is consistently voted the fans in college football the best stadium, friendliest stadium in college football. That is because it is full of Nebraskans. And so, dude, I don't know if we're the friendliest place on earth. I've heard that's Disneyland, but we've got to be right up there. So that's, we do different here that I know of. In Colorado growing up, everyone was Nebraska fans. What part of Colorado did you grow up in? You from the eastern part? Because even the people in western Colorado aren't really Nebraska fans. Fort Collins, well, that's kind of not the eastern part, I guess. Go Rams. I don't have a problem with CSU at all. And Dead Horse, you can understand when I say that I am not a big fan of the dumbheads in Boulder. I do know, and I've never been to a football game in Boulder, but I do know a lot of people from Nebraska that used to make the biannual trek out to Boulder to watch Nebraska and Colorado play. And Nebraskans learned very quickly to not take their car with Nebraska plates into the parking lot at CU, because they would come back out and find smashed windows, slashed tires, the paint was keyed. It's horrible. Hold on, getting into some traffic, it's hard to read these. I might have to catch some of these back up when I stop. Once I get stopped, I'm going to go back through today and address these questions if I can. So when you worked in Wyoming, no one would return calls about places to rent. One guy wouldn't even talk to your lady, so you didn't end up staying out west. Strange thing like that in your area. I guess I don't know why that would be, unless they're not keen on people moving in from outside of the area. There are places like that. I mean, I know some towns in Nebraska that if you're not from there, then you're not really anybody. You're not worth anybody's time, you know. Some towns are just kind of cliquish like that. But that's, you know, that happens in the smaller towns. I'm talking about a couple thousand people. You know, once we get into, 15, 20,000 people or bigger, then it's not so bad, because there's too many people to care, who you are, who you really aren't. So, but I can't speak for Wyoming. Where I grew up was not close to Wyoming. I mean, way closer than where you are, but overall, I didn't get to Wyoming very much as a kid. I think once in my life. So, until I was an adult. And I've only been to Wyoming a handful of times. Since then, just 2 or 3 times. So, haven't spent a whole lot of time there. I do know that Shane and Liz Jelsma from Jelsma Outdoors lived there for a while, and Liz lived in the Nebraska Panhandle for a while when she was, I think, high school age, and they would definitely be ones to tell you more about Wyoming. Let's do a little merging here. Now that I think about it, we're going to go this way. So I don't know how cliquish they are in different areas. I do know that most parts of Nebraska are pretty nice, but I can tell you some of the best, even by Nebraska standards. I can tell you some of the best areas. If you're going to move into a little itty bitty small town, I'll recommend a few. Let me know when you're ready to move out here. It's going to be a pretty good culture shock, though. That's the other thing I can tell you that we do different. We don't have hundreds of thousands of people in a town. Only 2 towns in the whole state have got over 100,000 people. So, by most people's standards, every town in Nebraska is a small town. It's kind of crazy. Rob D, got to run your lady to work. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us, and best wishes to you and your lady both. Hope she has a great day or evening at work. Do I shoot a lot of long range? I'd love to. Short answer is no. No, I do not. The reason being, and I know some of you have heard me whine about this before, but in order to go back to where home is, back to the ranch, it's a 2.5 hour drive one way, and I don't just get to pick up and go whenever I want to, between a full-time job, 40 plus hours a week, and a part-time job owning a DJ company and doing that a lot of Saturdays out of the month. And then I've got to have a day a week. Sundays that's our day. We try and catch up, and do house chores and laundry and stuff like that if we haven't been able to keep it all done through the week, and if there were about 3 more days in a weekend, I maybe could get up there more. And I don't have any place close by to shoot at all. I am desperately in need of some range time. I haven't actually been out shooting in almost a year now, which isn't good. I'm definitely not going to say that I'm, by any stretch, a great shooter to begin with. And I do know that it's like anything else. If you don't use it, you lose it. So I need to get that practice in, but I don't have any place to go to. So let me see here. Perishable skill, I agree. All right, I'm gonna go back through some of these comments now. We're gonna see what we've got going on. I think it was Boulder today passed an assault weapons ban. Well, that is horrible, because nobody can ever say what an assault weapon is to define it in a way that I'm satisfied with. Let's see. What else have I supplemented a lot of trigger time with 22 long rifle and even air rifles? Unfortunately, I live in a town where there's an ordinance against that. I can't even go out in my yard and shoot an air rifle. I can't even legally shoot airsoft. I can't shoot a bow in my backyard. No projectiles inside city limits. So I know it happens, but I'm not even sure if paintball would be legally allowed. I don't know that there's a place within city limits that anybody can do it, but there's no range here. There's not even an outdoor range, any place to go to, any place. I know that there are people with, their own private ranges on private property. I just don't have anybody that I know of that I can just say, hey, I'm going to come out and do a little plinking today and maybe record a video or two, things like that. I'd love to do it, especially, a day like this. I've got the day off, and I would skip a few things on the honey-do list to go out and shoot some videos at the range. I really would, but I don't have any place to do it. So that's that's kind of the long answer. Now, going back to the long range shooting, when I do go up and go deer hunting, I do have opportunities to take some long shots, but I don't have enough chance to practice long range. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to go back to a 270 for deer instead of a 243. 243 will kill them super dead, of course. And I can't tell you when was the last time I had to put two into a deer, at a reasonable range, even with the 243. But I like the fact that 270 gives me 30% more mass. I get that extra energy, which means that I'm more comfortable taking a longer shot. If it's much over 300 yards, I'm probably not gonna take the shot. Go to the pistol range for practice. If there was one, yeah, I'd be all about it. But if it's much over 300 yards, I'm not going to take the shot. I don't really have a place that I can practice that. I pretty well know what my gun can do. Now I have a new gun to learn. That's going to be fun once I get it scoped and go get that sighted in. But the place where I go to sight my rifles in, it's just a 100-yard range. So then I've got to look at ballistics tables and figure out, if I want this zeroed at 200, where does it have to print at 100? So I've got to adjust for that. And there's a 100-yard backstop, and then further up a hill, there is a gong target that somebody's hung up. And with the 243, I was pretty consistent in ringing that, figured out, where to hold over and things like that. So now I'm gonna have to go back to basics when I get started on this 270 again and get her all dialed in. So that'll be fun. But no, when sorry, I'm going to go back through here again. Yeah, I don't have any place to practice. Literally, there is no place close by that I have access to practice any kind of shooting whatsoever. And so that's my dilemma is, you know, if I could afford to buy a place that was just outside of town and you know, it may be cheap by a lot of people's housing markets, but to find a place like that, I mean, I'm looking at, you know, 300-400 grand with a house and some land and stuff like that. So, you know, I don't have that in my budget right now to make that much of an extra house payment. It's not going to happen. What was that comment that just came through there? Taking several deer with the 270, but never passed 100 yards. Pretty flat shooting compared to 30-06. That's why I like it. It's almost the exact same trajectory according to charts. It's almost the exact same trajectory as a 243, so I don't have to adjust much in my brain, and it pretty well shoots along the same arc as that 243. But where that 243 is throwing 100 grains downrange, the 270 is going to throw 130 grains or more if I wanted to shoot a heavier bullet, but then I don't get the velocity. It's pretty comparable. So I just had a friend comment, or not comment, I just had a message come through on Facebook that popped up on my screen. A buddy of mine here in town has been waiting on his concealed carry permit, and he still hasn't got it. He applied, I don't know how long he applied. It's been, gotta be 2 months or so by now, month and a half. But I remember when I got mine, they said it can take up to 90 days. So yeah, it can take a while. I guess it's good that they're getting more and more applications all the time that they have to process. That's probably good. So nice little distraction there from the chat. So I know Dead Horse is saying that he's shot the 270 and shot several deer. Anybody else watching that goes deer hunting? Night Wolf, do you deer hunt? What kind of deer, you know, what kind of deer do you have in your area, I guess? And I'm not talking about exotics, but for the most part, where I hunt, you could find whitetails, you could find mule deer. I know you have to go out to the West Coast to find the blacktails. Never really had a desire to shoot a dog, so I'll take the big ones. But I mean, that's the nice thing about growing up where I did, and I didn't realize until I left and started talking to other people how rare it is to have, you know, that many acres of private ground to go on to, and to have two different species of deer that you can hunt if you want to. I have a personal preference. I shoot whitetails. I think they're beautiful and majestic, but the mule deer to me are ugly. Their antlers are ugly, their faces are ugly, and I just don't have a desire really to hunt them. If I see a big enough one, you know, if there's one that is too big to pass up, I would imagine I would probably shoot him. But for the most part, the whitetail are the ones that I like, and that's what I would want to have up on my wall. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the one that I do have on my wall. I'll have to show that to you guys sometime. Make a video, tell the story about him. It was a pretty cool story. So I'll do that sometime. I need to, yet here today or tomorrow, I need to get my video going. Wow, buffered and I wasn't even moving. Probably because I'm so close to the house. I wonder if my phone's trying to decide if it should run on Wi-Fi. That's probably our issue. Well, I've got a few things I need to do, and I do have a meeting later tonight that is not in town with our DJ partner. Your whitetail deer are pretty small. Are you still in the Fort Collins area? Are you on the Front Range? I guess I didn't know that there were that many whitetails that far over. I thought it was mostly mule deer country. Yeah, 100 pounds. Wow, we've got deer in the 150 to 200 pound range pretty consistently where I hunt. There's some pretty good sized deer, and of course, if you've been around both species, the mule deer, a muley doe can be the size of a whitetail buck. They get pretty heavy, so that's pretty neat. But where I hunt, it's illegal to shoot a muley doe. You can only hunt West Desert. Oh, you're in Utah. Why did I think you were in Colorado? But you're from Colorado. Okay. I don't know, Dead Horse. I'm sorry. There's so many people that I don't know very well, and I get the names mixed up still. And I need to spend some more time in some more chats with you and several other people and get to know you better. But I think it is time I get some more stuff done. You're from Colorado. I don't think it's cool, but I'm happy for you if you're happy. And being from Colorado, you'll take that hopefully in the spirit in which it was intended, coming from a Nebraskan. So a little neighborly jab there. I'm gonna say goodbye to everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for the questions. And again, if you guys need to know anything, shoot me an email, sandhillsshooter@gmail.com. We will, if I get some questions, I'll make some videos and address topics as those questions come in. So don't be afraid to let me know what you're thinking. And again, go on, give me a like and a share if you haven't subscribed to me and you found this. And you like a guy that just kind of rambles on and on, but hopefully I said some things that make sense, then subscribe to my channel and tell others too. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and God bless you.